Simplicity means ease, at least to me, and I think that's what we're all craving, is just an easier time getting things done around the house, getting things done in our lives. Today, I'm gonna share with you some minimalist tips for simplifying in your home, in your life, so that things are just a little easier. Let's talk about the first one, which is using containers that you already have in a new way. I love using drawer organizers around my house. I use these currently underneath my kitchen sink, but I could maybe try and use them if they weren't working under my sink anymore. I could try and use them in my bathroom or in my office. So try and think outside the box, literally, when it comes to your containers. Before you go out and spend money, spend time, try and simplify the minimal way by just shopping your home first. So often, I think we feel that in order to get maximum results, we need maximum time and maximum effort. The truth is, you can get maximum results with minimal effort if you are consistent. Little 5 to 10 minute decluttering bursts over time can declutter an entire space, an entire room, and eventually your entire house. I decluttered my house, about 85% of our family's stuff, and it took me about a year to get to a point where I felt like, okay, I am ready to maintain. So it was over time that I was able to achieve an entire decluttered space. Focus on small little habits at a time. Again, trying not to completely transform the way that you do your routine, but keeping it very minimal and achieving simplicity through just focusing on little habits. Getting into the habit of every time you walk through the door, taking care of your mail. I feel like this also applies to laundry. If we can just get into the habit of folding and putting away one load a day, we can actually simplify quite a lot. So try to put into place these little habits. Try and get them really solidified before you move on. Notice areas of your home that are constantly out of control. Whenever you see this area of your home or walk into this space, you feel maxed out. You feel stressed, you feel anxious and overwhelmed. Declutter the most in these areas. These are the areas of your home that have more clutter in them than you can comfortably manage. If it's really hard to keep these areas clutter-free or organized, it's just that you have too much in this space. It's not that you're going to ignore the rest of your house, but these are the areas that need the most attention. Now, you might be saying that's your entire house. I believe that there are still very specific areas of our home that are more stressful than others. For example, if I have a really cluttered kitchen counter, I'm gonna feel much more stressed than if underneath my bathroom sink is a mess. I need to use that space multiple times a day. I also see that space multiple times a day. So if you have to pick and you say everything's overwhelming, what areas are you going to be using or seeing the most often? That's a really, really good place to start. Again, just to clutter the most from these areas. Do not do what I used to do long before I decluttered my space. I started calling myself a minimalist or a simplifier. I used to stuff absolutely every single closet and cupboard, anything that had a door that I could hide all of my clutter. I would completely overfill and overstuff. This is just you relocating your clutter. So don't get trapped into thinking, oh my gosh, I've cleared the visible spaces of my home. Now I've simplified. When the truth is, you have hidden behind every cupboard and in every drawer items that you don't use or that you rarely use. If it's something that you haven't used in forever, then get rid of it. Do not think that you've simplified just because you've hidden your clutter. That is a total trap, one that I fell into for many, many years, and it didn't really help me feel less stressed in my life. Still hard to find what I was looking for. It was still frustrating when I went to get under the sink to get something to do the dishes. So to simplify your life truly, you have to get into these hidden areas. I have found that some of the absolute hardest things to declutter are someday items. You come across the item and you say, I really don't use loaf pans anymore for baking. I really switched over to using my muffin pans, but you know, I'm gonna be grateful that I held on to this because one day I am going to want to make a pumpkin chocolate chip loaf and I'm gonna be so happy that I have this. Okay, this is another trap. It's not as easy to get baking if I have to rummage through all my someday items to get to the thing that I know I'm gonna ultimately end up using anyway. When it comes to someday items, one of the most helpful things you can do is ask yourself, what can I use in its place? And that way you can feel a little bit more confident about getting rid of this because you know you won't be caught in a pinch no matter what. Through the door routines, I think, are very important to establish not only with yourself, but with your family as well. Your kids throw their shoes, their backpacks, their helmets, their soccer gear all over the floor, and suddenly things become very overwhelming. Setting up little hooks and systems, putting them in place, and having your kids practice these habits as well as yourself can be so helpful. Wherever you can, avoid the cart at the store. When it comes to stores that I know I get really tempted to maybe overshop, overspend, bring more clutter into my home, I try not to get a cart. These are stores like Target and Hobby Lobby, places where I am very, very tempted to just mindlessly spend. This does not lead to a minimalist house, and this does not lead to simplicity, but if I have a cart, I feel like I want to fill that space. It took me a long time to break the habit of bringing things into my home and my life that I hadn't thought through, that I ultimately didn't need. Another rule that can be really helpful to follow is the 3-3 rule. In the last 3 months, can you think of at least 3 times that you have used an item? It doesn't matter how much you want to love the item or how much you spent on it. Try and put all of that aside and very practically ask yourself, in the last 3 months, have I used this at least 3 times? You just feel like, oh, no, I haven't been able to use this item in the last 3 months. I've definitely not used it 3 times, but I've been really busy, but things are slowing down. And now I finally think I'm gonna have time to use it. Get a sticky note and write on here an expiration date that is 3 months away from now. So I'm gonna put the expiration date in December. And I have to use this by this date. The next time I pull this out, I'm going to see this expiration date on here. If I have not used this cookbook, that means I know I'm just not going to get to it, and I can go ahead and declutter it. Hold yourself accountable and remember to use the 3-3 rule for simplifying. Another way to approach simplifying your home in a minimal way is to categorize, contain, and explain. When it comes to decluttering, it is overwhelming. So what I like to do is categorize items, things that I know go together, things that I'm going to use together, and then figure out from there what kind of storage that I need. And it's just nice because, again, you don't waste money, you don't waste time shopping for things that aren't gonna fit your needs. So categorize, contain by first shopping your home, and then explain to the rest of your family, whoever else is going to be using this system, how it works, and hold them accountable. I think so much of maintaining a clutter-free space, or even getting to that point, is holding yourself accountable and asking for the support of your family. Please subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I will see you soon. Bye.